call the Decherd Mayor Board of Aldermen to regular monthly session, June 21st, 2016. And let's have a word of prayer at this time. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity of coming out tonight, dear Lord, and conduct the city's business. And we ask that we can do it in Christ-like manner. We special prayer for a couple of our workers tonight, dear Lord. David Bohannon, who was injured last week. We know he's got more tests tomorrow. And also Chris Winker's been sick, dear Lord. We just pray that you'll heal him and bring him back to us quickly. Forgive us for our many sins and failures. Within your precious name. Amen. Let's stand for pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. State for the minutes, Mr. Foster, that the mayor and all four aldermen are present. And first item on the agenda is to review the minutes for the previous meeting on May 12th. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Alderman Sanders and second by Alderman Coulter to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the financial statement for the month. Revenue for the city of $202,408. And if you look on page 8 of our balances, general fund $862,624, compensating balance $62,890,000. For total assets of $2,343,000. Our revenue for the water department for the month was $161,806. And if you look on page 4, is our balances there. General fund, American City, $474,000. Our reserve account, $340,000. Surcharge account, $947,000. So roughly total assets of $10,621,000 for financial statements. Our revenue, if you look, is doing real good. We're at through May at over 90% of revenue. Our ad valorem taxes are up. Our property taxes are at 102%, which is terrific for a city our size this year. So our revenue is just doing real well this year. So, any questions? I entertain a motion to approve the financial statements. To approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alderman Colford, second by Alderman Parton to approve the financial statements. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Departmental reports. First, the police had 1,155 calls for the month. Fire had 62 calls with 3 fires, 39 accidents. Building department, building codes, they issued permits. Fees were collected as $1,153 in fees from our codes department, and our total cost for the water department was $154 for the month. Any questions over these? Our department heads, I asked them to come tonight. Been asking them to come every few months if you've got any questions for the police and fire or water or street. And y'all have any questions? If you want to, go ahead.
Having leaks or something other, water loss.
Old pipes. Right.
Water loss percentage kind of goes up and down over the months, just depending on the number of leaks and when they get fixed. Some of them don't get fixed in this month or in the last month, but in the following month, and you'll see that number come up and down. It's just normal for them to do that.
And want to commend our street and police and fire and our water were out a week ago Wednesday during the storm, and appreciate everything they did to get the limbs up. I was at church when that happened and started getting calls, and the time I got back in town, everything was cleaned up, so I really appreciate all work they did that night as well. First item on the agenda is our public hearing for the 2016-17 budget. So at this time, I open it up to the public for a hearing, and I will, ordinance number 395. This is an ordinance to make appropriations for the administration, operations, and maintenance of the city government of the city of Decherd, Tennessee for the year ending June 30th, 2017. The tax rate for the year 2016-17 will be at 1.2070 per $100 of assessed value. Be it ordained by the City Council, Decherd's been approved April 11th, May 9th. Opening it up for the public at this time. The board started working on this May 12th. We had a couple of workshops in my office. We're looking at next year's budget. For a city our size, it's great. We're income and revenue of $2,630,000. That's a lot for a little city like us. With expenses of $2,392,144, which leaves us in the black, which is real good, $238,456. Water budget for the year is a little tighter because I've heard my dad say it, Betty Don say it, Mayor Shelley say it, water you just don't make money on sewer, right, Eric? Budget is $1,891,365. Expenses of $1,887,000, which leaves us in the black of a little over $4,000. This will be the same tax rate, water rate, same tax rate we've had for probably about 10, 12 years of a tax rate increase. That's great. A lot of cities having an increase. One thing too, and I'll commend the city does, we're one of, you can count on this hand, cities that do not charge for garbage pickup. Average garbage pickup sometimes $20, so citizens, if you add multiply 20 times 12, that's another $240 you'd be paying in taxes, or could be charged for garbage pickup, what cities charge. So that's saving you a little money there, and I'm proud that our street department can do that as well too. So that was something else. So real pleased. At this time, I open it up to a public hearing. We have to open it up on the third hearing for a hearing for the audience. Any questions on the budget for next year?
Mayor, didn't we say we'd like to have these pages numbered?
You can't number them, Carl. The computer will number them.
Well, can't they be numbered?
Well, by hand, we'll just,
By hand.
yeah, this is the public here, no
Yeah,
first. The public,
okay.
we can't ask questions, right? This is for the public first.
Oh, okay.
Any questions from the public? Okay. I'll close the public hearing. And at this time, I have to ask for a motion and second to approve the budget before we can have discussion on the budget.
Make a motion, we approve.
Do I hear a second to approve the ordinance number 395 on the third and final reading?
We got to vote on it.
We gotta have a second before we can discuss it.
I'll do that.
Okay, second. This time, questions.
There's several questions I have on here, and I don't know, myself, I would like to put this off for, we can have a meeting on another day, so we can go over, because we have,
Don, I'd like to have it right here if we could, because the budget has to be presented by the first of the state. We've met in my office 2 times.
We can't ever go over all of it. It needs to be go over tonight, or we'll be here till midnight.
I mean,
Because they just several things here that's popped up, but
This is the same budget, Roy, that I presented the first of the year.
It is not.
What's been, nothing at the bottom here has been changed.
Because what about the new, what you handed to us the other day to?
The salaries were changed, that's what was changed, y'all, the only thing that's been changed is what y'all told me to change about the salaries.
I can't vote for it right now.
And we'll have to advertise how many days, Mike, 3 days?
Yeah, if we give proper notice.
Well, now, we could not adjourn this meeting and just,
You talking about like recess or something?
yeah, we can take a recess so
Yes.
we could go over all this stuff. So you don't have to have it in 90 days.
The budget
Am I
has to be
right?
presented.
If, if we just recess the meeting,
Yeah, y'all can recess the
Yeah.
meeting, yes.
and then come back in a day or two or something like that, we wouldn't have to wait 90 days.
Well, we're open to discussion now, let's start with discussing, now, we got people here that wants the budget tonight. I'd like to, what's some of the discussion, we got time to discuss it, let's start discussing. Because y'all have had this since May 12th to look over.
We want to, have a meeting Thursday afternoon, and I think we can vote on whether to or not. I don't think that you can just jump right here and say, let's discuss it right here. Let's have us a workshop meeting Thursday afternoon.
I can't, I got a business, nah,
I've got business too, but this here's important too. They just some things on here that really need.
well,
to
let's
be
discuss right now, y'all, this is, we're open for discussion, and I'm calling for discussion. I mean, come on, Don, y'all want a discussion, let's discuss right here. I've had 2 meetings in my office, y'all had this since May 12th, and I wanna know what, and the citizens have got a right to know here, we're in the black $200,000.
They got a right to come back Thursday if they want to too. They got rights. You're right.
I mean, tell me what's wrong with it, let's just, right now, I'd like to know.
I had some of it marked here.
Well, they're just things added on here that it's never been, the board has never agreed on it.
Well, that's what we're here to discuss, what has been added on?
Well, let's go down there to consultant fees.
The consultant fees, where are we talking about? What, you gotta give me a,
Well, we own the city water, where it said was the first one that come up here.
where y'all talking about consultant, you gotta give me a number.
Wait a minute, let me get,
We've always had consultant fees on here.
I had them marked. Hold on. All right, it's, city water works. Let me tell you one I got marked here. The credit card fee, we've never had that before.
We just added the credit card machine, and what that is, that was a request for the auditor. We are charged a fee when we use the credit card. I'm in my store, and that's a line item, it's got to be in there for the audit.
And it's $2,500.
It's charged every time you use your credit card, Roy, the business charges. Debbie, you know
Did the
about that?
board vote on that?
Yeah, we voted on that 2 or 3 years ago when we had the credit card machine.
But this is the first year we've had to pay the $2,500.
It's always, we've been paying it, the auditors, anytime, Roy, you have an expense about $1,500 or more, they say make a line item. So Norman and Tammy made a line item. We've been paying that $2,500, it's been under miscellaneous. And we don't have a choice, or either you take the credit card out. My fees run $175 to $200 a month at the store.
Well, just so many things that have been added on here, like the consultant fee there, $1,000, that's not gonna.
Consultant fee was also under miscellaneous, and this year, Eric, we're gonna have a lot of consultant fees because of the new building, the sewer plant, right?
Yes, sir.
They suggested this be based, there's nothing been added on, they were all grouped together, and Norman then made this better for bookkeeping. We've always had a consultant fee. Jimmy Hires just paid a consultant fee every month.
Well, there's just so many things got out of hand whenever we put, like the annex building. Now, we approved $98,000 to build that building. I bet it cost
Well-
$200,000. Nobody approved that.
But let's go with the budget, y'all. I wanna know what's wrong with this budget.
Well, that's,
And I've answered both questions. I mean,
every one of them, every item like right there, the salary, the bookkeeper and cashier there.
that was a increase they got back in, January. All the,
I'm always talking about, when you just got, this is for the waterworks, you just got the one girl.
The bookkeeper's paid, half of her salary's paid out of water and half's paid out of the city administration. Been that way for 30 years.
And it's still $10,000 higher?
And they were given that much in raises.
I don't know when was that voted on?
Every department head, Roy, gave their own department raises back in January. Right, Jimmy Wayne, not every department, the people were given, the hourly employees were given raises in January.
Gilbert. Robin.
Jimmy Wayne,
They did.
$10,000?
Well, I don't know exactly what it was.
Well, there it is right there, that's what you got in black and white. I mean, I would never voted to do that. Well, there's just so many things happening that they.
y'all have looked
the board.
at this budget every month. You see what they're paying.
All right, I'll tell you what, I'll get the old budget, I'll get one last month to see if they paid that.
They're paid, Roy, they've been, right here it is. Salary of the bookkeeper and the financial statement. Can y'all not, I don't mean this rude, but you take what's the monthly payment, multiply it, that's May times 11.
Are we going page by page on this?
We skipped over here, I did.
I asked y'all to start on the first page and tell me what's wrong with it. What,
Well, let's go to page 3. If we had these numbers,
Of the,
we wouldn't have to do this, but, you know, I still don't see why we can't have.
I don't see where it'd be out there, the problem, whenever you get it made out, before you make the copy.
we'll get them numbered. Okay, let's go with the budget.
If we could have things numbered, we've asked many times. Going back over here on page, and I'll just count from the top, from the very top, after you sent me this printout here. 1, 2, 3. And then you go to the 4th page. And it says, under the salary of the mayor and the alderman, legal fees. Who gets,
That's for our city attorney.
that's what,
That's our city attorney if we're charged anything.
I thought you said the city attorney didn't charge us.
He doesn't, but you leave it in, you gotta have a line item in the budget, Carl. That's been,
Do we pay Flossie money?
no, he's never sent us a bill.
Well, where does the money go for legal
It
fees?
just stays in the budget, Carl, if you don't spend it.
No. No. It was $1,000 last year, and now it's $3,000.
I believe that was a typo from last year.
Mhm.
But regardless, I mean, it-
3,000 before that, 2014 and 15, we can't have a typo. And then we have 2015 and 16, 1,000, and now for 2016 and 17, we've got 3,000. So we need to, we need.
okay, we'll take that down to 1,000, now give me another one, let's go.
Well, what about computer fees there? It's 6,000 last year and now 10,000.
Because, okay, we base that on what this year we spent. Y'all look at the previous, look what we spent for computers this year, guys. We spent, that's what, you can't look at what we budgeted last year. You gotta look at year-to-date expense. We had 3 computers crash, when was it, Mike? About 2 months ago?
Yes.
And we've got to replace them. So I've got to put more in computers. This year in computers, we spent $10,000, guys. So that's why 6,000, it wouldn't cover it. Computers have to be replaced about every 2 or 3 years. You
So-
can't look at last year's what was designated. You got to look at the expenses year to date this year, guys, when you do a budget.
Let me ask you this, on the legal fees, we're not gonna spend any money?
But Carl, what if Flossie quits? You've got to have something in the budget. If he quits as attorney, the next attorney may charge us.
Well, he's not gonna quit.
Well, you
Well,
don't know
We don't
that.
know that, we don't know what tomorrow brings.
But that don't mean you're gonna spend it, Carl.
But you said that we don't spend that.
And
Did we spend that money on him?
we haven't spent a penny of it this year, Carl.
When he went to represent us?
He has not turned us a bill in.
Carl, before we had to put a retainer fee in there and pay for the attorneys on the amount of work they done. Floyd does it for nothing. So that's why you see the $3,000 in the year 2014, 2015.
Here's the 15-16 budget. There was $3,000. They have made a typographical error on your budget. If you'll look on your financial statement, legal fees, there was $3,000 budgeted last year, and this year we're in right now for legal fees. So that was not an increase. Norma just made a typographical error, which can happen on that.
The 21,000 to 23,971 for insurance.
Yes.
Insurance goes up about, we do not know it, so they tell me to estimate a 7% increase every year, and that's a shock.
Who is that?
B.R. Williams.
Now, they told you that this was gonna cost us this much more?
We won't get the bill, Carl, to the middle of July. And it's a shot in the dark. We had, last year there was not an increase, but they say a 7% increase is a good way to figure that. And that's what I did. I took 7% per employee in that department.
And that's based on claims and the age of our employees.
What are travel expenses?
That could be, the girls have to go, like Tammy has to go to school. Dennis, when he has to go to school, Derek has to go to school, we have to pay their way to go to that, keep their license and stuff like
Goes up 1,500, it's doubled, 1,500 to.
Carl, gas, rooms,
I'm
board.
just asking, you know.
Look at what, Carl, look at what we spent this year. You can't look at last year's budget, look at what we spent this year. And on travel expenses, we spent about $2,500 this year.
Maybe we're spending too much.
Yeah.
You're,
No, I don't agree with you, because we've
I'll
said
tell you
here,
what.
we've got a surplus of $200,000. We're not having to raise the tax rate. What do you
we
don't
had
want
to
to
borrow
cut?
money. We borrowed money.
We, to what?
We borrowed to do Chapman Street.
Yeah, we did. There's nothing wrong with borrowing money, Roy.
Well, they are, if you don't have to. You're.
And I guarantee you, ask half this audience, and they say we was foolish for not borrowing more money to, you know.
What's is required medical treatment?
That's the water guys had to have shots for what, Eric?
Hepatitis B.
Hepatitis. We're required to give them those.
Okay, they were 500 before, and then they went to 250.
We never have done them in the past. We just started doing them lately. We've been putting it off.
The best way, and man, I'm just trying to ask you, look at what we've spent this year, and you've got to make your budget on that. And our department heads have stayed pretty darn good in the budget.
They've been good.
What's a city activity expense?
That's for donations, it could be,
What do you mean donations?
well, when you buy an ad for the paper, for project graduation,
We got that over there later on.
well, in the past, it's come out, what else, Mike, comes under
Well, it's
that?
it's for decorations, different things like activities, whatever activities we have, Halloween party, a beauty contest,
Christmas
Halloween.
parade, pays for the trophies,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, if we had it at 3,500 and 214, 250.
Well, Carl, we went over this
We
year.
went to,
But Carl, that doesn't mean that we're gonna spend that. If we do, when we amend the budget at the end of the year, then it's gonna be put in other line items that has been spent. So it levels out itself. Just because we got a certain amount and a certain line item, don't mean we have to spend that money.
No, but what it is, what I'm getting at, there's so much money being spent that don't come before the board. That it just, and you say, well, I could use this here for that or that for that. It needs to come before the board.
If something comes up, we need to be notified, know about it.
So when the recreation person buys trophies for the parade, they want y'all to have to vote on that. Y'all wanna vote on it, now, you're gonna be here at about 1 o'clock in the morning every time you spend some. Y'all, if this is a capital outlay, the auditor says, we vote to buy it when we lay it out as a capital outlay, y'all. That any accounting person will tell you that. That's why we do this as capital outlays, police car, paving street, turnout gear, all of that. That's why all this is a capital outlay. If it's in the budget,
If it's in the budget, it generally gets spent.
but you don't have,
That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't we,
When it's not necessary, it still goes.
when we buy a new vehicle, put a bid in, or used when we don't have to do that. But the
but
new-
I don't understand, I do not understand what y'all are, the gripe about the budget. There's, no-
I missed some of it,
but
but
I-
I've been all out of pocket.
I'm gonna say something that may regret it, but guys, I have worked my ass off on this with y'all. We met 3 times in my office, and we could have stayed there another 2 hours. These employees, they don't, I'm gonna get on my high horse. We got 4 of the best, most conservative department heads. Most cities are having to borrow money to make the payroll. We're not. If y'all was,
Necessary.
no, but I want y'all to look at something. Last year, we were only $83,000 to the good. Y'all didn't say a word, y'all approved the budget. This year, we're $238,000 to the good. Money in the bank, and y'all are sitting here griping over the budget. I'd like to open the public hearing back up. I'd like to hear something from the audience. We're not raising taxes.
$201,000 of that surplus you're talking about came out of the surcharge fund.
No, that's
It says
water.
in the budget, Mayor, that that's where it came from.
The water is separate from the city budget. That has nothing to do with us. We're talking about, we're not even on the water, we're on the city.
Oh, okay. excuse
Water's
me.
separate.
That's part of your surplus, Mayor.
Now, the surcharge has nothing to do with the city part. That's a separate business. What I'm referring is what taxes and sales tax. The surcharge is the water department. That's a separate, it's almost like a separate city. It has nothing with the everyday goings on with the administration part, with the fire and the police and the water.
What is this salary for parts?
Okay, the auditor says we can't keep sending a water person up there to turn the water on and off and paying out of the water. It needs its own line item, parts, to be paid out of that. Mike has to go up there and turn the water on and off, somebody in the water department. We may have to send some police, but, and she said that needs to be a separate category. Anytime you send y'all, a miscellaneous goes more than $1,500, they tell you to make a separate category. I don't mean, I'm not trying to be smart, y'all, but I was taught that in school, and anybody out here, Miss Jackson was a principal before, she knows what I'm talking about. Miss Crabtree's like that back there, you have to make a line item
Well,
for
when you
that.
think a guy that's sitting here spending the city's money, want to ask that question when he's never been in there before, and this year it's $2,400, don't you think that's a good question?
But Roy, it's been in there for 2 months, y'all, that's why I gave y'all the budget in May, and I begged y'all to ask and talk.
I come up here and got this last week.
The 2,400 was in there then, it's been in there. The only thing that's been changed since we met are the salaries. I wish y'all take it and compare it. And that's, y'all voted on that. I asked y'all to decide that. I mean, it's nitpicky stuff.
It's not nitpicky when there's $2,400 put in there that you hadn't seen before. It's not nitpicky.
But we've been spending it, Roy, we just moved it from one
Well,
category to
what
the next.
about this fire engine interest here? $76,000 when last year we budgeted $4,000.
The interest on that, Norman and them made a line item for that. It was all showing up in last year's budget at the very end down here.
$76,000 on the fire engine. It says interest. Fire engine interest, $76,000.
That's,
Did the two of them go
that's
together?
that's added together, that's the payment for the year.
Well, then right down under, it's got fire engine principal.
What's the payroll taxes for the building inspector? It went up $500. Oh, this is, I'm still back on the,
Carl, that's where we raised his salary.
what do you mean?
Well, yes, payroll taxes are our part is 7.65%. And you take that times the amount of his raise, that's what raised it, that's where you get that figure.
Do we have just the department heads getting a raise, or?
That's what we voted on the last meeting, we met in here and talked about. We gave all the department heads, we raised them to, where nobody was making below 47.5. Y'all decided that.
That's right. But there's more in here now that I didn't know anything about.
More what?
Let's see, the one I just named, a while ago. Over, where was we at? It was on there. For the water clerk salary. It is our $50,000, last year was 40.
Y'all, those were the raises given back in January. It's not the water clerk, that's two salaries. The bookkeeper is paid out of half city, half water. And Linda's paid out of all water. Tammy's paid, she keeps books for the city and the water. So she has to be, her salary split. Is it 50-50 or 64? That was exactly what the figure. That's not just Linda, that's not just the water's
And
part.
there's that kind of raise you get.
I don't know. I mean,
That's the reason I was asking, I don't know either.
What is he asking for, man?
Down there on, it's in the water. Water. the salary bookkeeper, cashier. Uh,
Year-to-date salary is 45,113. That's through May 30th, and so you would add another 3760 a month between the two, and that would bring it to 50,400. They're making 3760. Two people are making that a month, so that's their salary. That's the monthly thing. So you divide that by two.
On the salary on the building inspector, Dennis, is Dennis here? Dennis, are you certified in all the areas you're supposed to be, or do you have to go back?
I've got more certifications.
Sir,
I've got more certifications than they require.
you've got one certification.
I've got
More
more
than they require.
certifications than they require.
Why would you have to go back?
I have to have, continuing education hours in order to keep my license.
That's the place to go to, you gotta go back. Fire has to, water has to. Don, what's your question? I said you had some.
Yeah, but I know one thing. I had to.
The capital outlays, each department head furnished needs for the year. They didn't get everything they wanted, but we decided 4 years ago to start replacing the turnout gear every year rather than buy it all at once. The storage shed, we talked about that the last 6 months, tried to put that in there. Yeah, Don.
Yeah, that way.
Ain't no question on that, that's, we need.
Yeah.
Police cars, I furnished y'all a list of those police cars. We got 4 cars here with 191, 193, 193, and 171. Gotta be replaced. I mean, there's nothing on there wasteful.
We got 2 new ones this year. Do we get 2 new ones every year?
Well, I mean,
We didn't get anything this year, that was last year.
The
But-
2 pickup trucks, they didn't get here this year then.
Well, it didn't get here then, but it was year before last.
They need some more than the rest of them wore out.
I mean, if we didn't have the money, I'd be the first to start cutting. Some people in here know me, but I mean,
Here's the thing about having money, it can leave you. If you don't
Yes.
leave, you ask some of these little towns that's begging now.
but Roy, we're sitting fine, and we need to buy some things that while we can afford them, is the way I feel. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
That's one thing for sure,
Which-
don't ever ask me to vote for a tax increase.
Well, Roy,
So we can work on it here and kinda keep it right, and we won't have a tax increase.
Roy, you can't ever say that, because you don't know. I'm gonna tell you something. If we lost Kroger's, we'll have a tax increase in this town.
That's all we want by my vote.
We'll have to.
There'll be some layoffs and.
What you gonna lay off, Roy, what we gonna lay off? You can't lay off firemen, or insurance is gonna
If
go.
you don't have the money, you watch and see what you can do. You can do wonders.
No, you
That's the
do.
reason what I'm saying, you need to watch it tight.
We can do like Winchester, we'll be raising taxes. 2 things I learned. Never say you're gonna cut taxes, never say you're gonna raise taxes. I mean, I hope we don't, we've not had to, but
Ones I had, they done went through. I wasn't understanding that about fire trucks, but it didn't look right for me. I looked for that, but I
That's
got
down,
that
that's
clear.
on, That is 76,000.
Yeah. But,
Mr. Mayor, I think that confusion on that fire truck part is that it'll show the fund balance that comes in from the county rural. But then y'all also, when y'all voted to pay off the old loan that was $48,000, that wasn't in the budget. And that's where your difference is.
If this is interest
I know.
expense,
Well, maybe,
that's what's got me.
I think that
You
they-
give $125,000
No,
or something,
no,
and you pay
that's not-
$76,000 interest expense.
that's not, $76,000 is not interest on
I don't-
$124,000, but
That's my question.
you paid $48,000 to pay off the old truck, and that's probably why that figure jumped to 76,000. I don't know where, do you see it anywhere else in the budget that was $48,900?
All I see down here is truck payment, or truck payment, $27,820.
That's how much that truck is every year. It's 27,000, what you said.
Now, it says fire truck interest expense.
Well, I mean, I'm not,
$76,000 for 1 year, now you know there's something wrong with it.
now, I'm not a bookkeeper, but it has to do with paying off that old loan. And, it's probably even, I think we paid $39,000 down when we, to get it to the 124. We had 39,000 sitting in that account.
Chief, may I say something?
Yes.
That 76,000, we're talking about interest, is probably the interest paid over the whole life of paying on that old fire truck.
No, it won't be on the budget like that.
I mean, what's the principle? What was that principle?
Please, the $76,000 for interest expense of the fire truck, would you please explain that to me? Yes. Or is that supposed to be 7,600? It was 7,600 in 1 year's budget, and then 23,000, and it's 76,000, and the alderman have a question about that. The new budget, yes. It's above the payment of the 27, I know the 27,825 is the payment of the fire truck, but the 70, it says 76,000, and I'm thinking it's 7,600. Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. She says it's probably typographical error, her mistake, 7,600.
I thought something was wrong with this. I was wondering about.
What about the Tennessee state planning thing here? We didn't have anything last year, and we budgeted.
It could be that that's billed, a lot of that stuff, Carl's billed in June 30th into the month. So we've still got another year in the budget. I mean, another month in the budget.
And the Lions Club voted to
Y'all told me to put $250 more on that last month.
do what
And I was told to put, in that meeting the other day, $250 more on that.
he told you to do that.
And here in the meeting y'all were. Maybe it's Jimmy Wayne said that.
We took it off of the,
We were gonna take it off of we took it off of something, dropped it. And then one other place, South Central, we had to leave some on that because that is not all what something to do with the garbage recycling dues, and we couldn't take all that off. The rabies control, we can't cut that, because if you don't want your dogs, stray dogs picked up, I was able to drop unemployment a little bit, hopefully. I mean, I'll answer anything, but just, the reappraisal expense, that's set in Bruce Mentor's office. We don't give many donations. I know it says 26,000, but a lot of that we're required to give. The rabies, state planning. What that is, Carl, that's if they used to send a planner down there to meet with their board. And if we have to have somebody come down here, the planning board, where's Dennis at? They charge us now out through the yin-yang. We try not to have to do that, but if we had to, that's where that comes from.
Supplies to the police department went up
That's ticket,
$5,000.
that's ticket books, that's, what all, Ross?
It can't be
Paper.
5,000.
Yeah, ticket books, paper, I don't know, it's a large list.
Fixed assets from the police department went up $30,000.
Carl, what that was, the police cars, we voted to buy them last year, and they didn't send them to us this year. So it was two of the police, the trucks, cars, we were billed, in July for them. Y'all knew that, I made y'all aware of that. They delivered, the delivery date was wrong. The ballpark lights were done, we were billed after July 1st for those, but since they were installed June 1st, the auditor let us pay for them in last year's budget. A lot of this, we do what Miss Connie Bailey tells us to do. So that's why fixed assets went up in the police department, is a manager when the bill came. And I told y'all that last June or July, that would happen.
I've slept since then. I forgot.
Insurance goes up
Yep.
$2,000.
I think
TNRM,
That's on Tennessee Municipal League insurance. That's
Do
on
we
42
know- do we
big.
know that for sure?
Now, I want to ask the question, in this budget, who all gets a raise and who don't? Is everybody,
We brought up last week, y'all, in the meeting, I told you all the hourly employees got one in January. We've been trying to do that the last 6 or 7 years since I've been on the board.
well, can we not say who gets what here, or does it just,
What do you
just
mean?
whoever decides,
The
we'll give
department,
this in here 10, that and 5? It ought to be set.
what we set, Roy, we set that up last year in the code, chartered it with each department head has been getting with that alderman when we did that.
Now, you got,
And y'all set the, department head, that's why I made y'all do that. So
We didn't have the choice, it was set for us.
No, not all of
It was
them.
up 47,000.
Only 2 of them are set. We had to raise Dennis's and Mike's up. Rest of them are making more than that.
The fire truck payment, I thought the city, or we were going to use the money that the county gave us.
We do. We show it as income revenue, Carl. It showed as revenue over here. 30, somewhere on here.
The revenue comes in, it's guaranteed $30,000 every year. If there's any extra from hotel motel tax, which there has been on many occasions, could be $3,000, could be $4,000, or it could be nothing, but you're guaranteed $30,000.
Yeah, we've shown it as revenue, but you gotta show it as an expense, Carl. And it
Yeah,
showed
so
as
it comes
revenue
in.
on page 2, outside fire costs.
It comes in several times a year and it goes out in one lump sum payment, that figure that Roy gave me. If you take that figure that Roy gave, the 27,000, whatever it was you said, and you take that times 4.5 years, that's how much total we're gonna pay for that truck. It can't be no more than that.
And this year, our outside fire costs, they're estimated 32,000. So we budgeted that. But it has to be spent on, cannot be saved and it has to be spent on fire.
Yep.
Or we lose it.
Correct.
And so you've got to show it as an expense if you show it as revenue. Auditing fee, it may be more. We don't get the contract on that till July, so that's a shot in the dark.
I think we need to go ahead and get training done.
Calling for the question.
Yeah, I think we went over it.
Okay, question's been called for, motion was made by Alderman Sanders, and it was seconded by Alderman Colford. Have a roll call vote on ordinance number 30.
I've got some other things I'd like to ask about. The street paving and sidewalk went from $125,000 down to $50,000.
Because last year we budgeted for Chapman Street. That's why we cut it down some this year. We don't have as much paving. We had 4 streets y'all gave me to pave this year.
So what are we gonna pave next year?
Do what?
What streets are?
Well, y'all gave me 4 streets that are on my desk. Mill Street,
Are they?
Second and Mill, Cherry, and I don't know, they're all in on my desk in there. I don't have them with me. The same ones y'all gave me.
Paving loan, what is it, 30, 40, 53,000?
That's the money you borrowed to pay Chapman.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, the question has been called.
Okay, they've been called for the question. Have a roll call vote, Mr. Sanders.
I've got some more questions.
The question's been called for, Carl.
Well, we don't necessarily have to.
Well, the question's been called by 2 people. Vote it down, we'll just call for a vote, Mr. Foster.
Vice Mayor Carl Smith,
No.
Alderman Don Colford,
Aye.
Alderman Roy Parton,
Nay.
Alderman Jimmy Wayne Sanders.
Aye.
Break the
We've
tie,
got
aye.
2 ayes and 2 noes, so Mayor says aye, passes 3-2.
Okay, any, what questions, Carl?
You've already passed it. Go ahead, Robin.
Well, no, what
No,
question?
Just go ahead, go ahead. You passed the budget, so whatever's in there is in there, and that's okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda. First reading of ordinance number 397, amended municipal code changing zoning R1A to R1 to C2. This is the Horton property. They want to change it from just basically residential to commercial. Don't have to read it tonight, it's the first reading. Dennis, do you want to, I can't find it, the planning board passed this, I believe.
Planning board passed this unanimously.
Okay. So we'll have to have 2 more readings on this. So do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 397 on the first reading?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Alderman Sanders and second by Alderman Parton to approve ordinance number 397 on the first reading. I need a roll call vote on that, Mr. Foster, since it's an ordinance.
Vice Mayor Carl Smith,
Pass,
what was that, Carl?
pass.
Pass. Alderman Don Colford,
Aye.
Alderman Roy Parton,
Aye.
Alderman Jimmy Wayne Sanders.
Aye.
3-3 and 1 pass.
Next item is the approval of the auditor. And I think in our workshop other day, we discussed that we'd recommend Winnett Associates of Sheffield, Tennessee. That's Miss Connie Hughes Bailey, formerly of Decherd. She's done a good audit the last few years, and so we just need a matter of approving that, where we can notify her, have the city recorder notify that she's been selected again for the next year for that.
Make a motion, we approve Winnet Associates.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alderman Parton and seconded by Alderman Colford to approve the auditor for the 2000, that should, yeah, this 15, 16, that's this last year's audit. All in favor say aye. Aye. And Eric, you want to give some of the information on our phase 3 here, what we're going to.
We've been under budget or on budget for phase 1 and phase 2. We're down to punch list item on phase 2. The phase 3 is ready for go after July 1. I've got a quote for what that would be from Stewart Companies.
You want to explain to them what
Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me.
the girls wanted to.
Phase 3 entails paint, flooring, doing away with the paneling in the office area, bringing the bathrooms up to ADA, some lighting, but that's what it all comes to on that part. Replacing all the outlets and all the switches, bringing all it where it should be. And the bid that we have in right now, or the quote we have in from Stewart is $29,155. I don't have it with me in front of me. I'm going on memory, it's about $15,500 for materials, and the rest of it being labor. But that would get the entire city hall renovated for about $70,000, I think.
Well, do you think that'd be the end and everybody be happy?
I don't know if I want to wait off in that one or not.
I mean, they just keep spending and keep spending, and maybe you need this, but
What we've done so far has brought the building up to,
yeah, it looks good. I'm not down in a bit of it, but I just wonder if there's a happy ending coming around.
I hope so.
What about it, Mayor? Do you
That-
think that'll wind it up?
Should be nothing else for the next. This is the first money we spent on the city hall in 22 years, and it was needed.
I kind of hope that it is.
Eric's tired of fiddling with it.
I'm tired of herding cats.
Well, it would be good to get on to some other things, but you're right, I agree.
And we're hoping, Ross, that we'll sell the old city hall. Roy thinks we'll get, he's more pessimist, I mean, I'm just than I am, but,
I think we'll get 40 to 45,000.
and that'll about cover what we've spent on doing this. And also getting it back on the tax rolls, it'll be back on the tax roll. We're looking, the audience may know this, you may want to bid on it, we're looking at putting the old city hall up for auction. And we're gonna have some, you know, one man's junk is another man's, what is it? Treasures. And so, we're gonna have more of that, also some old cars and stuff to auction, and hopefully we'll be doing that maybe sometime in August, we hope, in the
We
July.
was gonna try earlier, but we're
Uh-huh.
not making no headway.
My auctioneer don't agree with me and Roy too well, but,
That's your cat.
I told Rex was gonna find
No, I didn't, really, I had, that was his idea, the auctioneerman we got. and-
Yeah,
and-
well, we're gonna fire him.
We got people to well,
He's free, but,
bless his heart, he said he didn't have a license to sell it. We'd like to do it
Are
legal.
y'all moved everything out officially, or?
We, just got the evidence stuff moved, because they had to have a door made. The door's being made and gonna be installed in here. That's the last leg of that. There is some stuff that's gonna have to be taken to that building. That city files, it wasn't all police, it's water, record keeping, payroll, all kinds of stuff that you can't get rid of. Rest reports, offense reports, certain things like that. That, I had to get with Mike and them, see if we can get it moved down there and get it put up.
Which
We got rid of everything, we took everything the law said we could get rid of and got rid of.
should we shoot for August 1st?
Yeah, I suggest you get, there's still electricity, there's no water, but get Don Young maybe to clean those floors up, because after we moved everything out, it looks horrible. But that's up to y'all. I don't know if we're gonna clean it, sell it.
Well, you shouldn't have been so nasty.
Well, Roy made it matter, don't come in, I thought the cold drink.
That'll be good for that, okay. And got a couple other things here. Need to read this. This is from our Recreation Chairman. It said, Dear Decherd Mayor and Alderman, said thank you for the honor to serve Decherd for the last 11 years with the Recreation Department. 11 years ago, I approached the late Mayor Betty Don Henshaw, wanted to have a Christmas parade. The great success of the Christmas parade eventually led to multiple community events. With the assistance of the Recreation Committee members, the City of Decherd currently has been having beauty pageants, Easter egg hunts, cancer awareness, Halloween in the park, Christmas parade, and has raised money through community donations to purchase supplies for recreation events. Our little town looks great and has a lot of generous sponsors who have helped with these events. I'm extremely grateful for the sponsors, because without them we could not have managed these events. The great success of these events led to grants for a walking trail and new lights for the Babe Ruth field. Decherd is a growing community and has added many wonderful businesses. In the future, we need to develop better recreation facilities for the community to enjoy and provide for something for our senior citizens to participate in. At the present time, we have an outstanding Recreation Committee members who are all active and participate in our events. At the start of the fiscal year, effective June 30th, 2016, I feel it's best for me to resign from the committee and give my responsibilities to someone else. Thank you for the pleasure of serving the community of Decherd for the past 11 years. And this is for Becky Sanders, our Recreation Chairperson on our committee. Also with that, it left us with about 4 members, Debbie St. John, Christopher Smith, John Glenn, and Sheila Clark. And I've had 3 people, most of y'all know these, that I'd like to recommend for it. Ricky and Dana Gillespie over on Nicholson Street have volunteered to serve on this wonderful paying job. And also Rachel Hen, a lot of y'all know Rachel, but she's a young teacher at North. It's Dale Gully's, a lot of y'all know Dale. Dale's granddaughter is living up in Dale's house. So they 3 have volunteered to serve on this committee for this year. So I just need approval of the board to accept Becky's resignation and these 3 people on the board to serve on the Recreation Committee, this volunteer committee.
She's done a super job.
Yeah, and I meant to, thank you for that, Roy. I would like permission, if I could, to get Becky a gift card or something for going, show our appreciation for.
I think you do.
Yeah, she's fed y'all the Recreation Committee to get them to come. I laugh. Nobody wants to take the chairman because we got a chairman. I know. I see that. Y'all, she fed us too. I mean, fed us to get us to come to meet. But I would like permission of the board to buy her get her a gift card for something to steakhouse or do something for her because she deserves it. So if we could just put that all in motion to approve, set Becky's resignation, approve these 3 on the committee, and purchase her a gift card to the, not you, but her, for the steakhouse or something. So do I hear a motion to approve all this?
I'll make a motion, we approve all 3 of them.
Thank you, Roy. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alderman Power. Roy, I did it. Oh, Parton, and seconded by Alderman Colford. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. I got to put the historical committee. I didn't get the person on that. Jimmy, do you want to say anything about the traffic light, or I haven't heard anything?
Well, a few months ago, we sent a letter to the traffic engineer out of Chattanooga about the situation up in Front Street and State Route 50, and I do know that they came down and spent a day evaluating the situation, and I would hope that they would by now have sent a letter to you, but I asked you when I got here, and you haven't heard from them, so maybe I'll contact them in your behalf, if it's all right with you, and see why they haven't. I guess maybe no news is good news. They haven't told us no. 'Cause I know they did. I saw them that day, and Ross
Talk to them too.
stopped and talked to them as well, so I will, with your permission, contact them and see what's going on with that.
And we had two short add-ons. One is, I'm gonna let Eric, I can't find everybody, Eric read this, it had to do with the water waste treatment plant. This is resolution R4-16.
Just as a recap, we've already agreed to go forward with the wastewater treatment plants, and we are involved in getting funding from different agencies. The Appalachian Regional Commission met first, and they approved our application. The governor funded it, and this is why we're having to do this separate resolution from the other resolution for the other grants. Okay, resolution R4-16. Whereas the city of Decherd, Tennessee is eligible for funds under the State of Appalachian Regional Commission program, and whereas there exists a need to construct a new Decherd wastewater treatment plant, and
Motion by Alderman Sanders, a second by Alderman Parton. Any discussions about this? Okay, and we'll just have to have one vote. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Foster on resolution R4-16.
Vice Mayor Carl Smith. Alderman Don Cofer.
Aye.
Alderman Roy Parton.
Aye.
Alderman Jimmy Wayne Sanders.
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
Thank you. Okay. The last ordinance, and y'all, this is, just been brought to our attention, I guess, just this summer. We've had our first fireworks stand, what, in several years?
Well, we had one 3 years ago.
Okay.
Mayor, could you ask them to stand, please?
Sure. Dennis, I'm gonna let you explain this, and then we don't have to read this entire thing tonight, thank goodness.
Okay. As time has progressed, the city of Decherd hadn't been able to obtain very many fireworks stands within the city, and a lot of it's been because of the fees that we charge for our permits. Although the towns around us is quite a bit cheaper than we are, so I mentioned to the mayor the fact that, you know, we get quite a bit of tax money off of these fireworks stands that would compensate for the permit fees. So he asked me to draw something up, and that's this ordinance, number 398. And the only things, this is the actual ordinance that we're under now. The only things that's changing is what I've got done in red in y'all's, on y'all's ordinances. And it's changing the fee from $1,000 for the summer session to $500. And it's upgrading the ordinance in general is some of the things, because it still had, last time this ordinance was done was back in the 80s. So it's upgrading it to the current codes, and also doing a few other things, like they wasn't required to have a business license to sell fireworks in here, and that is a business. So now that this is changing it for them to have business license. It's also changing a little bit on the times that fireworks can be shot. Back on next to the last page, it's 7-5131. It's changing the times that they can be shot. Before it was 10 a.m. to 10:30, and we moved it up to 11:30, and then on July 3rd, they're allowed to go to 12:30 p.m. or a.m. is what they should say.
Dennis, what do the other cities around us charge?
The other cities around is at $500 per year.
That means that they won't have a booth at Christmas and July 4th, they just pay.
Correct. One fee for the year.
Fireworks run from June the 20th through July the 5th, and then through November the 20th through, December the 20th through January the 2nd. That you see from Berkeley.
y'all overlooked that, that's in the ordinance.
And so we don't have to set the fee time, that fee's till the third ordinance, so we got time.
Right.
Like if we want to be cheaper in Winchester or whatever.
Yeah, whatever y'all want,
I've got one question that's on
All right.
that. You had to have a number of parking spaces.
That's one thing that, was brought up that, most of the time, the way our ordinance read, and that's something I didn't change in this ordinance because I wanted to get y'all's input on it, since we do have to have 3 readings on it, was the number of parking spaces, and I was trying to, oh yeah, here it is. The ordinance right now, 7-510, says the site of a fireworks retailer shall be improved to provide at least 12 gravel or paved parking spaces. We need to back off of that and not require that the number of parking spaces, just say have adequate parking. Because there's no way, and a lot of times they'll have, you know, you can't mark off gravel for parking spaces. So how are you gonna be able to tell? That was one of the things I wanted to bring up, and ask y'all's opinion on about changing.
And you said we got sales tax off of this too, we'll get right.
Yes, sir. That's the reason that, we're requiring them to get business license, so that sales tax can be directed to the city.
We can work on the fee and stuff, bring it up next week.
Yeah, we don't have to, this is not a rush doing this because there'll be no more
No,
fireworks.
sir, it has to go through 3 readings because it is an ordinance to change our municipal code.
Okay, y'all just gotta be thinking about if you wanna stay 500 or go, you know, cheaper than Winchester where we might attract them or whatever. Don't put that in the paper now. All right, don't put that, I mean, okay, don't put that. Yeah, oh, well, that's on the, I don't care. We won't get Winchester's business, but, trouble anyway. But, we'll come back next month, guys. Y'all just be thinking of the figures to put in there. Okay, but we need a motion to approve this ordinance on the first reading, ordinance number 398. So I do hear a motion to approve it on the first reading.
Make a motion, we approve.
Got here a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Alderman Sanders, second by Alderman Colford to approve ordinance number 398 on the first reading. Roll call vote, Mr. Foster, since it's an ordinance.
Vice Mayor Carl Smith. Alderman Don Copeland.
Aye.
Alderman Roy Parker. Alderman Jimmy Wayne Sanders. Passed unanimously.
And the last item, Norma brought this to us, add on here. This is just bookkeeping to write off these taxes that are they've gone out of business. It's just a matter of housekeeping. Total of, I think it's like $2,500. Some of these have gone out of business or maybe died or whatever. And just need a motion to clean those. Let's give her permission to drop those and clean up the books. Someone moved, yeah, someone moved out of town. Did I hear a motion to drop those?
I'll make a motion, we drop them.
Okay, did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alderman Parton, second by Alderman Colford to drop these from the tax rolls. They've either died or moved off or
Right,
gone out of business.
There's Miss Hazel's on
Yeah, I
there,
just
there's
noticed hers on it.
Dollar.
And then Jackson's, yeah, so they're, or it could be they changed ownership too.
Yeah.
So all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. One more thing, just to notify, we've still got 4 lawsuit cases pending. The Jeremy Frame case, the Tabitha Anderson, Andrew Young, the Russ, we backed into somebody, one of the employees. Drug court, Rusty Leonard case, they're suing us over the drug house there. Just to let y'all know, those are all pending. Mike, any information on them? Just
No, I met with the attorney on that 3-car accident, and it's still just, they're negotiating.
the Frame case is up to what, second appeal or?
Yes.
Yeah, so that should be, okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the, city board and going into the water board?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion adjourned, we're adjourned, and we'll go right into the water board.
Who seconded that?
Jimmy Wayne.
Okay.
First item on the agenda is the, reading approval of the minutes of the water board from last month. Do I hear a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Alderman Culver, second by Alderman Sanders to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the last item is our adjustments. I've got my sheet there. We had one adjustment, customer number 3926. It's for a leak. So do I hear a motion to approve that adjustment?
Make a motion, we approve the adjustment.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Alderman Park, second by Alderman Culver to approve. All in favor say aye. And motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Roy, Don seconded. All in favor say aye. And we're out. Thank you.